everybody, it's Dustin again with Kingdom Rich Tech. I wanted to give a recap on today, September 12th, Thursday, September 12th, of kind of how we looked at the markets, what the trades we took, and kind of so you can get an idea of how we analyze, but then how the ORB strategy works real time. So we're going to do our normal top-down analysis. We'll start with the daily time frame on MNQ or NASDAQ, and then we'll work our way down. So first, we wanted to look at what we had from yesterday's CPI figures. CPI figures came in just about the same, with core CPI coming in a little higher. CPI, long story short, is Consumer Price Index. It's the index that measures all the goods and services that we buy as consumers. And so if those prices go up, that means inflation has gone up. If the prices go down, that means inflation is down. And so that's what it was. So we came out month over month the same, year over year the same. So inflation didn't go up, which is good for the economy. So we saw a really big spike up on NASDAQ yesterday, which kind of dipped into liquidity and pushed higher. But what we were working off of again is we had that fair value gap from last Thursday that we were looking at. And I'm going to use the replay bar so we can block out today so that you can see kind of what price looked like before the market opened. And then we also have, again, our support that we're looking at, which has been in place since Friday of last week. And that's our demand block there. And then we have our resistance that we had as well from last Thursday and Wednesday that formed that resistance. And so this is kind of what we were looking at today. So the expectation was if we fill this, we're going to fill these orders and then push higher into resistance, or we're going to fill these orders, reject here at the 50% level, and then turn around. And so as you know, today we had PPI news, which is producer price index. Producer price index essentially is those manufacturers and producers who make the goods that we buy, their raw price of goods. So whatever they pay for the raw price, if that goes up, then they pass that on to the consumer. If it goes down, then they just keep the profits. It's kind of just how business works. But we had figures come out worse than expected. But PPI is not as big as CPI because at the end of the day, CPI affects the consumer and PPI ends up affecting consumers. And so this consumer index was a bigger number. Long story short, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was a miss where we end up having a 0.2% increase in inflation month over month. The expectation was a 0.1% and the previous was 0% increase. And so we saw that change. So today we kind of have kind of played between and consolidated in that fair value gap, not completely filling it. We filled it, but then we've been consolidating in that area. So at this point tomorrow, we probably won't have this as a play, but as in this morning, we were looking at to see if it's going to reject in here where sellers come in and move lower, or if we're going to fill this as volume to push to the upside. So we had a consolidating day. Let's go to the 5-minute and talk about the ORB strategy. Let me turn on one of the other indicators that we have just to kind of highlight and get rid of that. All right. So we had somewhat of a busy day today. So we stayed within that daily fair value gap from Thursday. We still have not broken in. We broke out, but then came right back in. And so the daily candle has not closed. What we end up seeing here, on this case, we'll look at, here we go. We'll look at what we have on the indicator. We'll do the replay here so you can kind of see how we addressed it. Since we've been consolidating all week, we really didn't take any aggressiveness on these trades. And we stayed within this ORB, and so we didn't want to be aggressive in our approach. So we're looking for 150 ticks to take profit with the same risk that we always have at 300 ticks. So we have no huge gap from yesterday's close to today's open. And then we filled it immediately on the first 5-minute candle. Next candle comes in play and we start creating that range. Now we have our 3 candles, first 15 minutes of the market, and the range is filled. We have a breakout immediately. So we get short on this trade with the anticipation that it goes down and into this wick and hits our take profit. Well, we don't experience that. We push down a bit more and then completely reverse. And then what we see is if we zoom in here, you can see that the sell did happen. We took that trade on the breakout, pushed down, but did not come down to where we wanted it to hit take profit, which is 150 ticks away. It pulled back and it hit our stop loss, I think, after consolidating a bit. We had that pullback, And yeah, and here it is. So we had the push outside and the reverse trade came into play. And so then in the reverse trade, what we did was we took the loss, waited for the close, got into the market at the close with, again, 150 ticks, because we have been doing this for the whole week, consolidating, where we've had these first trade goes wrong and closes for a loss, and then the second trade comes and plays out. And so we had this push up as soon as we got in, and we went straight to TP. And so we recovered half the trade here. If you were looking for that 300 ticks, again, you can actually change it here in the ORB indicator. Right here, our vol take profit ticks 300. And you can see, if I zoom out a bit, that we didn't come and hit the first take profit, hit stop loss, then got into the trade on the breakout, and then we started pushing up higher. We actually did end up getting that trade. If you want to, I think we end up right here wicking it at this level here. Let me mark it so you can see this first TP there, make that darker. And so we ended up wicking it for 300. So if you did take a 300 tick loss on this and then got back in on the other side, moved up 300 ticks, you would have broke even for the day. And then that would have been the trade. We did get another signal, which also ended up playing out as well and hitting take profit. But we end up going for the 150 because we've been in consolidating markets all week. And so we didn't want to stay in too long. So that's pretty much the trading day. We stayed again inside the daily fair value gap, didn't move outside of that. And in a nutshell, we just kind of taking it day by day. We're able to recover half our loss. And so we're going tomorrow with just a small loss to recover it in the week. But overall, the week has been profitable, depending on how you've been approaching the market with the ORB strategy. Again, if you have any questions, on our trade or how we trade, and or you want to get access to our ORB indicator or our training on the strategy, everything's at our website at kingdomrichtech.com. All right, until tomorrow, we'll have a good one.